So if you listen to our first podcast, we talked about how difficult it was for us to get started. And now it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy this time. We just kind of set it down and started going.
We're able to play around with the soundboard a little bit.
A little bit,
That
just a
was fun.
tiny bit. You'll probably hear some of that later on in this podcast. I'm sure of it. I'm actually positive. We totally didn't plan these bits out or anything like that. Richard, is there anything you wanted to say before we start this show intro?
Not really.
No?
I've been a pretty good week.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. Whatever. All right. So we're here. It's been a week. It's been a week since we've talked to each other. It's been a week since we've done one of these. How have you been?
Been all right. Been all right. How about
Everything
you?
going okay?
I'm working as usual. We had a little bit of a discussion beforehand. We were talking about how weird the Power Rangers were and that they just had this like dictator tell them exactly what to do every day.
If anything,
And
it
he's
was just preparing us for adulthood, is what it was.
It was. It was
Yeah.
just some floating head that tells you exactly what's going to happen. And all right.
It would just be something like,
Power Rangers, go do the dishes.
and you'd be like, yeah, of course, Zordon, I'll go take care of
Gotcha.
that real quick.
All
Yeah.
right.
And then, of course, he always
I'm
has
going
like
to let
his
this
little
pan
lack.
soak, though.
He has a little lackey around with him who's just like,
Zordon told you to do things. You better go do them.
I don't know. stuff
I
like
heard
that.
him. I heard him.
Yeah.
You don't need to reiterate
Follows
that.
you around the
What was
room.
that little robot's name?
I don't remember.
I don't either. I kept calling Zordon General Zod.
Yeah.
For some
General
reason.
Zod. Okay, see, I looked up robot Power Rangers and it brought up one of the mech.
Oh, the Megazord.
Yeah, the Megazords. I wish we had a Megazord.
That would be awesome. But I always find it convenient. Oh, this episode, this specific threat called for the Megazord.
Every single time they had to call on to the Megazord. Like, in a way, that's a cop-out.
A little bit.
You're
A
not
little
really
bit.
handling it yourself. You're kind of calling on to, like, the powers that be to take care of the situation for you.
No, we need to form a giant-ass robot to solve this problem.
I wish I was one of the guys that they fought. Like, that seems like such an easy life. You know those little gray figures that would just be like, yeah, they would just be like, you know? What do you think a day in the life of those guys are? I mean, I'm sure it was a difficult day. You wake up, you're working for a dictator, essentially.
Right.
Right? And then he looks at you and he's just like, hey.
No, it's the
the lady with the horns.
big horns, yeah.
Oh, and she was like, Power Rangers. She had like a smoker's voice.
Yeah, she
sounded like
smoked
she's-
5 packs a day since she was 12.
That's what the reality of the Power Rangers is that they were fighting against kids smoking. That's why they had her as the bad guy.
There you go.
Because
There
they
you go.
understood. They were like, hey, one
It's
of these
the
days.
90s. We got to cut this smoking shit out.
Wait, we were talking about the Marlboro Man on last episode. There you go.
2 smoking episodes in a row.
It's
You're
the
welcome.
Power Rangers versus the Marlboro Man. So like,
I would pay to watch that. I
Yeah.
would pay to watch that fight.
So like the Power Rangers would get called upon by Zordon, and they'd go in, and then they would just hear like,
Power Rangers, there's a cowboy who's smoking cigarettes. You have to stop him from doing it.
and then the Power Rangers would be like, I mean,
That's kind of his choice, though.
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
not really up to us, you know what I mean? But he was like,
No, seriously, it's not cool to smoke.
they're like, no, I agree, it's not cool to smoke,
Right, but
it is
yeah,
what it is.
Yeah, it's free will, whatever. Now, what's crazy is Zordon was kind of a dick. He was kind of like very petty.
But yeah, no, he's management.
Well, yeah,
Like, could you imagine that? You're given superpowers, and you're like,
by
you're,
this like weird floating head, and
Yeah.
he's just like, you're a Power Ranger now. You
yeah,
got
you're like, you're red.
now you're good at karate.
Yeah, and you're like, what? He's like, yeah, dude, you're the Red Ranger now, and you're like, okay,
Cool.
what do I do? And he's like, you're gonna deal with my issues. What do you mean, like deal with your issues?
Well, I don't really like this person, so
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
you to go fight him.
He would be like,
Power Rangers, there's a child selling lemonade on the corner without a permit.
I don't really see an issue with it. It's like a kid trying to make money.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. I'm the one who gave you the powers. Therefore, you will do my bidding.
He was kind of evil.
So I have to beat up a 5-year-old
Yeah,
who's
and then the
selling
Power
lemonade
Rangers-
for 25 cents?
And then they would call him the Megazord. And the Megazord would show up and stomp this kid's like lemonade stand out. Why are we doing this? I can't believe this is like,
My floating head said I needed to do this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lucy.
Yeah.
I need to do this. I
just-
need a paycheck.
you don't have a permit.
Paycheck.
I need a paycheck. It is what it is. Like that's what
you
it
should
is.
have filed for a permit. It's real easy. You just go to the zoning committee and fill out 25 forms. Yeah, So you can just do that instead. But now we got to crush your business.
Look, did you fill out paper I-5 and then did you sign
what
I-6?
about 2A?
You
What
didn't-
about 2A?
You didn't. Okay. See, that's the thing.
She didn't do 2A.
You didn't sign 2A, and therefore that's why the issue is what it is. Okay. Well, where do I go for that? Well, that business isn't open today. That part of the company, that part of the government's not open today.
It's Saturday.
You waited. You waited too long.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be here. You're
Like-
lucky I'm here.
You're making me do this.
You're making me look like the bad guy when in reality, I'm the good guy. I'm just trying to adhere to what we're trying to do here as a governmental entity. You're
I didn't know
not.
the Power Rangers were part of the federal government, but
Well,
okay.
it's the newer show.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the newer
It's-
episodes.
yeah, it's a-
They're bureaucrats. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
gotcha. Yeah.
You should see the January 6th episode. Wild. Crazy stuff.
Instead of bringing out the Megazord, they bring out
The
Title
Ma-
IX.
No. They instead of bringing out the Megazord, they bring out the Magazord. It's just it's a robot that wears a big red hat. It says some stuff that like you're kind of like that's questionable. You know what I mean? Like,
But then it comes out and is like, well, I think the state should decide what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
yeah. But then immediately afterwards, he says something like,
We're going to go to war.
"We're gonna start burning things just because," and you're just like, "Wait, what?"
See, I'm like, I don't
I don't like.
about
I like the first part. It's just the second part. He's like, no. If you want
It's
the
all
first
of it.
part, it has to be the. You
All
have
of
to have the second part too.
Welcome to politics.
Good old politics.
In 2 episodes, we brought up 2 quote unquote good guys that are actually kind of dicks. Because
Wait,
last time we were talking
Are you
about
talking
Harry
about
Potter.
Zordon? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Zordon.
Zordon just has
ol'
five teenagers that he makes go do his bidding.
And he just kind of sits back in his like little fish tank floating around. He's got that little robot. Zordon, would you like some tomato soup today? And he's like, nah, I'm good. Where's the teens? Well, they're in high school. They're high schoolers. They're
Yeah, but I need him to go beat this person up.
yeah, no,
so.
but they're trying to like start their college applications and like
Yeah, but this person needs to be beat up.
okay.
So,
Well, Zordon, I don't think we should like pull them out of class and then he like presses a button.
and the principal just calls the classroom.
Yeah. Hey, Zordon needs you. But dude,
Yeah, hey, your dad called and
but-
you're getting called out of school.
it's finals week though. I can't, I can't.
haven't
just
been to
leave
school
class.
in
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You keep pulling me out of class, Zordon. I'm trying to get an education.
I
here.
can't put Power Ranger on my college application.
They're
okay?
they're gonna know I'm a Power Ranger, and like that. I thought that was like the reason we wore the mask.
Yeah, anonymity.
And that's the power that he holds over the Power Rangers is that because of the anonymity, in a way, indirectly, he's like, well, I mean, like you could not show up, but like, them to find out who your mom is, you know what I mean, or like your dad, and
You know, just saying.
it's not like your dad like works at the tire shop down the road at this exact address, making this much money, and this isn't his social security number or anything. And they're like, "Are you threatening me, Zordon?"
I'm not threatening anybody.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't.
just-
He's like, I don't threaten.
I have people who do my bidding.
Where are your people who do your bidding?
That's what I'm saying, dude. That guy was out of control.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, you had like a group of teenagers that you just called upon anytime you need like an issue taken care of?
That just sounds like an HR suit.
Or like, imagine an episode of the Power Rangers. They get like warped in,
Beam
all the
me up,
colors.
Scotty type
Yeah.
shit.
And then they show up, and Zordon's sitting there, and they're like, "Zordon, what's going on?" He's like,
Power Rangers, there's a issue in the world. I need my dishes done.
and like the whole episode is them, and they're like, "This is like the third time this week, dude." Like,
How many dishes do you accrue?
yeah, like honestly, as a
did
floating head.
Yeah, I did your laundry. You don't wear clothes, and you had me do your laundry.
You
What
said
is this?
You said, "Hey, make sure that the Rolling Stone shirt gets taken to the dry cleaner because that thing's vintage," is what you said specifically. You called it vintage.
And why have I never seen this shirt before? Where? How do you wear it?
The thing is that he never actually wears the T-shirt. He
has-
constantly has it like on the internet, and it's like vintage Rolling Stones T-shirt, but like you can tell it's not vintage at all.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Made 2021.
Yeah, it's like a brand new. Like he got it from H&M.
but it's vintage.
Yeah.
it has the same logo as it did in the 70s.
Yeah, they're like, "Hi, welcome to H&M. What can I do for you?" And he's like.
Where are your skinny jeans?
And like he has to like they have to like help Zordon like get dressed and stuff, you know what I mean? He's like in the dressing room trying different shirts on, different
So he
clothes.
basically just accrued 5 teenage butlers, is what he did. 5? That was
Is it 5? It's
I
5
think
because
it's 5.
it's the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, the Black
Pink
Ranger,
Ranger.
the Pink Ranger, and then the Green /white.
Right, but he only comes in every once in a
Well,
while.
he's the evil one. He was the one who was torn.
right.
He was the one who was like, I'm not sure if I'm,
I'm-
and like they made him out to be the bad guy, but like he was like, why am I answering to the floating head?
Right. Very reasonable point. And wasn't he the one with the ponytail?
Yeah, that greasy.
I find it very funny that the evil one has
is the one wearing
greasy
a ponytail.
ponytail.
Zordon, we don't really want to fight. I think his name was Tommy. Zordon,
Tommy, yeah.
Yeah. Zordon, we don't really want to fight Tommy. And he's like,
Tommy is a hippie, and he believes in everything but capitalism. He's a socialist.
and they're like, we don't
okay.
really like. I mean, like it's the United States. Like you're allowed to have your own like opinion on things. And he's like,
Not when I give you powers.
and yeah, I mean that's just what the Power Rangers was. It was like this all-knowing being who was constantly monitoring. Which, on top of everything else, that's just creepy. This dude constantly has his eyes on you. He
Right.
knows where you're at.
Yeah.
like you could be.
because they have that little the ding, and it's
Yeah.
like a phone, but not a phone.
yeah.
And he
I
can
forgot.
just talk to him on that.
Yeah. Dude, it's Zordon. He's calling me again.
Who's Zordon?
Yeah.
That's basically my boss.
He
Just
answers.
hold on.
You answer. You're like, hey.
Oh, he needs a gallon of milk.
Oh, he's typing. Okay.
Okay. Oh, and eggs.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know. This could be one text message. I don't know what's going on
We're
here.
6 text messages in, and like 5 of the text messages are hey, 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 hello, hey. Like, dude, I'm busy. I have things to do.
I'm at school.
Yeah.
I'm at school. School's not important.
Yeah. Zordon is truly the enemy of the Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, yeah, kind of like Dumbledore
Yeah.
of Harry Potter. It was very sketchy shit that man did. I mean, I'm gonna take this child and pretty much raise him for slaughter.
But it was for the betterment of mankind.
And
Apparently,
he
that's what
survived,
said.
so
Yeah,
it's
he's
fine.
fine.
But
He
did
came-
you die?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you
he
die?
did, but like
Well,
you came back to
Dumbledore did.
life.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, fair point,
You
fair
died,
point.
but like you're alive again. Harry probably never came back from that like the same.
Oh no, there's no
he came back
fucking way.
screaming. They were like, "Are you okay?" And he was just like,
I died.
But yeah, no, it was wild because like the idea of what happened in Harry Potter is I'm gonna take this kid, much like Zordon did with the Power Rangers, and I'm gonna put them in dangerous situations.
Because they're the chosen one.
Not because he could have taken care. That's the thing that bothers me so much about like Harry Potter. We're gonna go back to Harry Potter for a second. What is it with this dude who's like this all-powerful great wizard?
Yeah,
right?
best
Like,
wizard of all time.
the dude, and then like he needs a 12-year-old boy to take care of his like issues. But no, he's the chosen one. Why does he have to fight?
You have the most powerful wand that's ever existed. You've done all of this shit for the wizarding community. You've come up with several different spells and whatever, and you can't take down Voldemort, whatever, split his soul up. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't find 6 pieces of something.
Also, in the same regard, though, why is it that the headmaster of a school is the one who gets the Elder Wand? Like, could you
That's what-
imagine? It's like, hey, your principal, like you're in a high school,
Yeah.
and it's like your principal has he has
The most deadly weapon. He has a nuke.
Yeah.
He has a nuke in his office.
Yeah, just a heads up. But he's not going to use it.
He's not going to use
He
it.
doesn't want to use it.
But
If
he
any-
has it.
Yeah, he just so you know, just so you're aware.
You're going to get to use it 7 years
the
later.
principal of your high school is holding a nuke in his office.
Don't worry about it. Don't
Don't worry about it. Like that's my question. Why isn't it like there's not like a president or something in the wizarding world who's like holding the Elder Wand?
Right. Like you would think it'd be the Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
Right. You would think like because it's basically Prime Minister. Like
Yeah.
he controls everything in the wizarding world. You would think he would be the one. You
Yeah.
would think Dumbledore would be that. But
Yeah.
he's like, no, I actually want to be principal of kids.
And then they're like, we're gonna entrust you with the nuke. Like, could you imagine that? Like, imagine the principal of our high school that we went to, and like Joe Biden shows up at his front door. He's like, hey, I'm gonna give you the briefcase. You're gonna carry the button with you.
You're gonna
we're
carry the
li-
football.
We're gonna leave it up to you. Like that's essentially what that was. It was like we're gonna entrust the most powerful thing in the world with the headmaster.
Right.
That's the principal of the school. I don't know like
And he also has like the ability to go completely off the grid because he has the invisibility cloak. So that's the equivalent of not being able to be tracked. And he has at one point the resurrection stuff. So
Yeah.
he has the power over life and death, the most powerful wand, and the ability to go off the grid. And he's the principal of a school.
Yeah, but like the prime minister or the minister of magic, that guy. No, he's the most important figurehead. Here.
Yeah.
But this principal of this school, he's gonna obtain all the power over in his hand.
He's cool.
Also, another thing that I have an issue with those movies, the Hermione thing, in Prisoner of Azkaban, where he's like,
Oh, the time turner.
yeah, what is that? What is that? Like, that's so unfair to all the other students. I'm gonna give you this time machine.
So that you can take more classes.
Yeah, so that you can be smarter than everyone else here. And you're trying to tell me that this guy didn't have like an illusion to Gryffindor? You know what I mean?
That's apparent from the first movie.
Yeah, they end the first movie. He's like, oh, due to house points, it looks like Slytherin like won the whole thing.
But I like this one, and this one. So this house wins.
You're out of here. Get out of here, Slytherin. Go to the dungeons.
It just so happens that was the house I was at. But
I've been
that's
playing,
not important.
I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy.
I still haven't gone to play it yet.
Okay,
I have
so-
it, but I haven't gone to play it.
So I went with the house that I was like assigned. And the house that I was assigned after taking the online quiz, since I was like a teenager, was Hufflepuff. Dude, the Hufflepuff common room is literally like underground. Like they're in the basement.
It's in the wine cellar, yeah.
And I find that so funny because like you look at the Gryffindors and they're like
They're
you're
in a
the
tower.
main tower. You have this beautiful view of the world.
Yeah, even Ravenclaw's in a tower.
Yeah, and then the Hufflepuff, they're like, you're gonna go underground.
Yeah,
we're gonna put you down.
We're gonna hide you.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
and then Slytherin, we're just gonna put you right next to a giant squid and hope it doesn't kill you.
And not only a giant squid, we're gonna let you know that the person who came up with your house was kind of evil.
a little bit.
This isn't us saying that you're gonna be evil or anything like that. But if you just so happen to be evil, we wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it makes sense.
5 points to Gryffindor. But it's like I don't know, man. That's the issue that I have a lot with like a lot of these like kids movies, especially like the way that some of the stuff we grew up with. I think about like the Hunger Games.
Okay, I didn't really watch. I watched, I think, 2 of them. I did, but
It's probably the first two, right?
I think so. That's still a little
My-
hazy for me.
I've always wondered this about the Hunger Games. In whose right mind did they go, you know what? We're going to do once every like 4 years, like a World Cup. We're going to grab a couple of kids from each district. We're going to have them kill each other. And
Literally,
that's how we're going to keep
That's
the
the
peace.
goal is
yeah.
to kill each other
That's
until
right.
one remains.
That's what I'm saying. What is it with all these like young adult books and them being like teenagers in peril? That's it. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Triwizard Tournament. There's another example. Twilight.
Yeah.
We're just gonna introduce this teenage girl to
A
vampires and werewolves.
950-year-old
and-
man.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine.
There's something so romantic about this young woman falling in love with a corpse. Oh, the romance. It writes
it's-
itself. It truly
really
does. I love the Twilight movies as well because one, Bella's like the most unlikable person in the world.
Yeah.
I love the fact that like vampires are portrayed through centuries. They're portrayed as like these like charismatic, over the top
Bella
individuals.
Lugosi
Yeah.
just bleeds.
And you're telling
charisma.
me that they fall in love with the girl who's like showers, those are overrated. You know what I mean? Like can't like look at people in the eyes when she talks to them. But yeah, the vampire is like falling for that.
Yeah,
That's
that-
what they fall for.
and the werewolves.
Those were I feel like those were the movies that we were kind of raised on. And I feel like that's why like our generation is the way that it is because we look back at those movies and it's like we were taught like, hey, kids should be endangered. Number 1, Harry Potter. Number 2, kids should kill each other. Hunger Games. Also, fall in love with an older man. Who cares if he's dead?
It's fine.
Twilight.
It's
Yeah.
undead. First of all.
Undead. Yeah, my apologies.
And then you also got to look at the Disney Channel for that as well, because look at like there's literally a show, Henry Danger, where he just like this
Yeah.
established superhero can do pretty much anything. Just finds this young kid and is like, you know what? You're gonna be my psychic, Batman. Look at Batman. I'm gonna take in a 10-year-old and he's gonna fight crime.
Yeah, with me.
Like-
and the only reason I'm letting him do it is because he keeps going, but I want to go fight.
Yeah. My parents are dead too.
And then he's like, well, I guess
Come
that's-
on, Dick.
Yeah, well,
Literally.
hey, look, that's his name. All right, he's not saying anything. He's just saying the guy's name, Dick Grace. He literally would be like, hey,
Come on, Dick.
let's get out of here, Dick. Come on, let's go fight somebody, Dick. But no, but like I agree with you in that regard. The way that they tried to like allure kids to these TV shows was like, hey, what if you were put into some a little bit of danger, huh? Something
would
a little
you do?
dangerous. What would you do about that? And like us as kids, we're like, oh my gosh, dude, that's so
awesome. I
cool.
wanna
Let's
do
go
that."
do it. And then you would go do it. Like imagine how many kids thought they were robbing and like jumped off, I don't know, like their trailer, like their double wide trailer, snapped their neck. Well, you know, he watched Batman growing up.
Yeah, he thought he could fly.
Yeah.
He watched Superman once and thought he could fly. So
That's
it is what it is.
That's what's crazy about the TV shows we grew up with is that it was always about danger. It was always about like what might happen to you. You know, there was never a show where it was like, hey,
Either that or
maybe
romance.
Yeah, maybe focus on your academics and like your health. It
No,
was
that's
always
boring.
like, yeah. You ever tried to dodge a bullet? Huh? You
Well,
ever thought
try
about
it.
that? Give it a shot. And like they're like, what?
I can do that?
Yeah, of course you can. Look, he's your same age and he's doing it. And then you got kids out there. They see like a robbery going on. They're like, I can stop this. You know what I
And then
mean?
they get stabbed.
And that's what happened.
Fun
Anyway,
times.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Enough harping on these old TV shows. I feel like this is what this podcast is just going to turn out
Oh,
to be.
more than likely.
just gonna be us
some
pointing out
forms
the-
of media. And you know what? This is, man, I thought we were going to get off of this. But the roots
No.
have been set for a while now. Because, like, look at The Outsiders. Literally, the climax is a big ass fight. Bunch of teenagers. Maybe, I think Patrick Swayze's 21 in that one. And, hey, we're going to fight. No weapons. But
just-
we're still going to beat the shit out of each other.
I just love the idea that like growing up, there was always kind of that stigma of like, oh, I would never show my kids like The Simpsons or something along the lines of that. But then they would be like, The Breakfast Club though?
Oh, yeah.
I'll show them The Breakfast Club.
It's a classic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it teaches you how to be a teenager. God forbid they watch like Homer Simpson like be dumb for a minute. But hey, it's cool if we watch Bender, you know, break the law multiple times throughout a movie.
He carries a knife, an
Yeah.
illegal a switchblade at that, which is illegal.
Threatens the authority figure of the movie multiple times. They make fun of a janitor just because he's a janitor.
There's literally assault and battery.
Multiple times. There's harassment throughout the entire movie. But, you know, I won't let my kids watch South Park.
Right.
Why would I want them to watch something along the lines of that? They're crass. South Park is crass.
It's just shit jokes and
But, you know, these movies.
oh, classic.
They're classics. I mean, you could even go back further. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, look at Gone with the Wind.
Exactly.
What's the main character's name?
Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler.
Okay.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Okay, Scarlett O'Hara. We just got some. We just got the assist. All right, Clark Gable and Scarlett O'Hara. There you go. That's another perfect example of like people being like, well, you know, it's in black and white, so it's fine.
It was color. It was
Oh,
color.
okay.
But anyway, Scarlett O'Hara was a bitch in that movie. Totally fucking selfish. She just like let people die around her.
No, see, but that's the thing though, is that at the end of that movie, the
She gets her
moral
comeuppance.
they get the comeuppance. So there is morals behind that.
That
Look,
is kind of
look.
the-
I love 80s movies as much as the next guy.
But we did kind of get away from there having to be a meaning and and a moral.
I watch Uncle Buck, right?
Oh,
We
okay.
watched Uncle Buck for the first. Well, Steph watched Uncle Buck for the first time a few months back,
It's
and
been a while since I've watched that one.
we were watching it. And as I'm watching it, all I'm thinking is, okay, so parents entrust their children with this man who clearly has just a history of being horrible. Yeah.
Irresponsible.
I mean, the first shot that you see of him is that he's sitting in an apartment that's just like destroyed. Like he's-
Looks like a squatter lives there.
yeah, he's distraught. He can't even keep his like girlfriend.
Something like that.
But then they're like, I love
Just
I
because-
love the scene too because they're like, oh, your dad died, and they're like, oh well, we can't find a babysitter. Who do we entrust these kids with? Well, we got
I have
my
my
brother, Buck, and then they split cut to Buck, and Buck is essentially like smoking crack in the first scene that he's in.
Modern days, that would be it. Because he's smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
He's drinking, which are both bad. And
Imagine that being done nowadays. Like,
no, that's just par for the course.
they make a movie and they're like, oh, well, I got my brother. And then they show the brother and he's just like railing. And then they're like, well, he's not that bad of a guy.
It's
just
gonna
a-
be 2
yeah.
days.
He's just a little distraught. That's all he
little out
is,
there.
And then he shows up. And I love the first thing that he does when he shows up to the house is he walks up to the house. He starts screaming at the front of this house. And it turns out to be the neighbor's house, right? Mm-hmm. That in itself, I would be like, nah, man, there ain't no way this guy's watching my kids.
Right.
And I understand that the whole idea of the movie is like people learn, and once you're like giving
don't judge a
kids
book
and-
by its cover.
yeah, he's a protector, and it is what it is. But
He's actually a good dude.
These
he just
parents,
has issues.
These parents are irresponsible. That's what the movie should be about. Parents are irresponsible and they leave him with a person who is.
Look at Home Alone. You forget your kid at home.
But Richard, they were going on a trip to Europe, and you know,
And there's so many people running around. That's your child.
How do you
the
not
youngest
know? Child in your household, and you are leaving him at the house. And then, to me, what's funnier, I get the idea of them being like, "Oh, we're gonna take care of this kid, and we're gonna we're gonna go back. We're gonna take care of him. We're gonna get him."
Oh, Kevin.
Exactly. But you left your kid behind.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So I grew up with a fairly large family, not that big,
Right.
but a fairly large family.
Right.
I'm still able to keep track of pretty much everyone around here.
Exactly. Especially if
really
you're going
care
on a
where
trip
they- overseas.
Okay, they packed. They got in the shuttle. They got all the way to the airport. They got all the way on the airplane. They got all the way to Europe. And then, finally, we left Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh, no, Kevin.
No, what's even worse, I'm gonna blame the ticket person at the plane because
You have 14 seats. There's only 13 people here.
you didn't say anything. You just checked him in and let him go.
And then on top of that, how bad of a parent are you that you don't teach your kid, hey, if there's people trying to break into the house, call the police.
Right.
No. We taught him to set traps and take care of himself.
Yeah, we're going to throw a bowling ball at him.
I mean, I'd freak out too if I looked outside and Joe Pesci was standing out my
Oh, I
front
would
door.
too. I would too. I was left alone plenty of times
Right.
when I was young.
And if
But-
Joe Pesci came to my front door as a child, I'd be like, hey, well, I'm probably going to call the police real quick.
There's this short, weird man trying to break into my house.
But yeah, no, instead he's like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some Hot Wheels up. And they're going to slip on the Hot Wheels. And then what if that didn't work? What if
Right.
they were smart? It's a kid laying booby traps around the house. You don't think they're going to notice something? They're not going to walk in and be like, why are there race cars? I'm like, who put a skateboard here?
Is that ice on the stairs? What?
But instead,
This is weird.
But I love that. I love the idea that we are essentially teaching. They were essentially teaching these kids like, hey, if your parents leave you alone, the best thing to do, fight back.
Right.
Don't go looking for an authority figure.
Or hide in the closet.
Don't
or,
call a parent. He just lives in the suburbs. It's not like he has like a million neighbors or anything along the lines of
Right.
that. Who I'm sure they've,
Oh, they all have their own.
know.
There's an HOA, I am sure, in that neighborhood. I am sure of it.
Here's the thing. Realistically, what would have happened if it was me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my parents left me behind. I'm gonna walk to the neighbor's house and be like, "Hey, I don't have adults," and they would be like, "Oh, dude, come inside. What's going? What? No.
Yeah. Let me call your parents real quick. I
What's
have their
happening
number.
in that movie where they're like, where he's alienated from society apparently, and the only person who's there to help him is this weird old dude who just keeps kind of giving him like the glare. That's the support system. And then there you go, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. How do you lose your kid for a second time?
Right. Like you already had it where you forgot your child and
Yeah.
went all the way to Europe.
Right.
You would think they would reflect and be like, you know what, maybe
We should probably double check.
yeah, maybe we should like be a little more stringent on our parenting style.
We should probably be a little more cautious, but instead they're like,
specifically this one because he assaulted and battered
Joe
two
Pesci.
grown men. Literally could have caused death. Let's maybe keep an eye on this kid.
But I think that's
sociopath. By the way, Kevin is a sociopath.
But I think that's the magic of the 80s. Like, you look back at those movies, and that's the thing, is like,
well, it's kind of like maybe it was born from the cartoons, like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Look at that, like where you can just hit something with a mallet and the cat's fine. Like they
right.
just.
And so Kevin, in his head, was like,
he's
I'm going to.
Oh, it's just gonna stop him.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
gonna.
just a
rape-
shotgun.
Yeah.
We're just going to shoot him in the stomach. And like Joe Pesci's like, oh, call my family, tell my family. And Kevin's like, I gotcha. Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, not only does Kevin perform assault and battery towards two grown-ups, I mean, they're trying to break into his home, but there's also that horrible scene where the pizza delivery guy shows up and he's like, hey, I need some money. And like, he essentially plays it like there's a dude with a gun in the house to get a free pizza. What are you teaching this child?
Yeah, that child is a fucking sociopath.
What's happening in that house? Where his initial instinct is, we're gonna rob a teenage pizza delivery boy. We're gonna assault two grown-ups, and then the one old guy your senior, the person that I was always taught to be like, oh, you're supposed to trust adults. He sees an adult and he runs for the hill. What's happening in this household?
Like that is
I don't know, man. It's bad parenting. That's what it is.
bad parenting. That's the 80s for you.
I feel like 80s movies just, I mean, that's just kind of a given in an 80s movie.
Oh, wasn't there the babysitter died or something like that?
Are you talking about the Babysitters Club or whatever?
Oh no, it was.
Don't tell
like,
mom the
there's that-
babysitter's dead.
There you go.
Yeah, that's another
there you
one.
go.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't watched that one in a while, but yeah, it's just
That's what the 80s was.
Yeah,
It was just like I mean, like honestly, if there's a trend of like popular movies, it's we're gonna put this kid in some trouble, it's a little bit of peril. We're gonna see what happens.
yeah, and they make it out on the other side, so it's all okay.
Everything's okay.
Fuck PTSD and trauma. They're fine.
No, he gets to go to New York and he meets Donald Trump. Is what he gets to do. You know what I mean?
I forgot about that.
You don't remember
part.
that? Yeah.
I remember now.
You ever
Oh,
watch
that's
that movie
insane.
like knowing what Donald Trump like turns into?
No, no, I haven't watched it since I was. That's insane. I don't know if I could watch it the same.
Well, so my thing is like Home Alone 2 is clearly like I mean, you know, the Home Alone movies are clearly kids movies. They were geared towards kids, right? Little family movies. How big of a celebrity was Donald Trump to children that when he showed up on screen, a bunch of kids were like, "Yeah, it's Donald Trump." Woo! You know? What's happening in the 80s?
And I feel like that just kind of like carried over into the early 2000s because then you have like in the 90s you have
Oh
like
my gosh.
Hackers, you have Scream, you have you have all of these where
See, but those movies were more geared towards like young adults and teenagers. But then you get to
Right.
the early 2000s, and that's where it just goes off the rails. Agent Cody Banks,
oh yeah,
big fat liar.
yep.
It's like, hey, we're gonna have this child. Essentially, like, what's Frankie Muniz in Big Fat Liar? He's like
He's got to be like
12,
14,
14.
15.
Yeah, he's a teenage, mid-teens, early
Yeah.
preteen, right? So you're telling me the movie is essentially, all right, guys, this kid.
Which one are we
here.
talking about?
We're talking about Big Fat Liar.
Okay.
You seen Big Fat Liar?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I loved that movie.
Okay, so Frankie Muniz gets his script stolen by Paul Giamatti.
Right. So he writes like a movie script
Yeah.
so good
That a
one
Hollywood executive
executive was like, "No, I'm
stealing
taking this shit.
This is mine. But what I love is that he shows him the script, and the guy's like, "Pfft,
This is stupid."
I would never do anything like this. And then he turns around, he's like, we're gonna make a movie out of this. First off, you don't think the kid's gonna be like, hey man, that's my name's. I have copies of the script, like the original format of it. It's not. And then
No, he's lying.
yeah. So
He has a record of lying, so he's a liar.
so somehow the parents like let this kid go to Hollywood, and this kid.
No, they're
tore-
gone. No,
they're gone. Yeah, you're right.
Another instance of
Parents
parents just
just
trusting
not being
that trusting that their kid's gonna be good, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go to California. Actually,
I'm gonna get out of here.
I'm gonna get my movie
I'm gonna
script
max these
back."
credit cards out real quick and go to California. And then he gets there and he spends the entirety of the movie making this man's life an absolute living hell.
Dyes him blue.
Dyes him blue.
Dyes his hair orange.
First off, you as a person who sells chemicals, you're a guy who like essentially runs a warehouse full of chemicals, and a 15-year-old boy is like, I need a couple of buckets of this blue stuff, and they're just like, yeah, that's
yeah,
cool. Yeah,
good.
get out of here, bro. What the hell?
Yep.
Why are you here? Come on.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
No, it's like that South Park when
$25.
Right. It's like that South Park when the dude just sells them sleeping pill or cough medicine.
Yeah,
Cough medicine.
exactly. That's what's
no,
happening.
This is the one that's gonna fuck you up the most.
Exactly. And that's what happens in that movie is that like
You know
where
what, bro? I got you.
that's my question with all these where are the adults in all of this?
Well, the adults don't adult in those movies.
No, they're just kind of like beings who just kind of stand there.
yeah, and like serve one purpose and okay.
Well, like I think that's why the Breakfast Club has as much charm as it does, right? Because you can see like teenagers getting themselves into like that kind of a situation. Maybe not like climbing through the vents and stuff. But
I was
like,
gonna say, but
other
the
than
rest of
that,
it, yeah.
yeah.
Smoking pot in the library. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Why? Who knows? You know what I mean? Whatever. It's the 80s.
I don't know if anybody did that.
Yeah,
but-
who would do something like that? No, but that's my thing. It's like that's a very believable story.
Right.
But then you look at other movies such as like Home Alone, Big Fat Liar, stuff like that.
Agent Cody Banks,
And
where
you're
he
at-
just becomes a secret
Yeah.
agent because he passed like one test at
Exactly.
a boot camp
Yeah.
or at a summer camp.
There you go. Spy Kids.
Spy
There's
Kids.
another movie where like that
And
situation is just
they
like
weren't even trained. They
No.
just no. My parents are
Yeah.
spies, so I'm a spy.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like what
This
you
is-
know.
yeah.
What world are you
not-
guys living in?
Yeah, not good morals to teach children.
You know, I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Took a little break there. We were talking 80s movies
Well, pretty
well-
much just the extenuation.
of parents not being around
Mm-hmm.
in movies.
There was one that we thought about, House Arrest from
Okay.
'96.
Yeah.
That one, it's deliberate because the kids like pretty much put their parents in timeout.
They lock them in the basement.
Yeah. And then all the other kids in the neighborhood were like, "Ooh, I want to lock my kids in the basement." And then that extenuates to South Park
Yeah.
and the M word episode. Do you remember that where it's pretty much devolves into Lord of the Flies
Oh yeah, yeah,
because they all say that their parents molested them,
yeah.
and so then it just becomes Lord of the Flies again.
It's just I feel like that's a topic that movies hit on a lot because like I even think about like Jimmy Neutron and like the entirety of that movie is like what happens if your parents go away and everyone's like at first they're like, oh, this is great, this is
we're gonna
fantastic, my par-"
party.
and then before you know it,
I miss my mom and dad.
yeah, dude, there's that scene with the kid who has like the 2 ice cream cones and he's like, I ate too much ice cream. That hurt my heart. Even as like a child, I was like, this is horrible.
Where
I
is
miss
his
my mom too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just it's pretty interesting how that's just a continuing theme because it even showed up on Showtime with Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
I just started that series, but it's basically like this soccer team goes. It's literally Lord of the Flies. The plane crashes and they basically devolve into this like weird occult type thing where they eat people.
Naturally.
Yeah, as you would in the woods.
Yeah.
But
Where do they land? Is it like the Appalachians or
I'm not sure. It's snowy. I'm not sure exactly where that is, but it's like it looks like a
desolate
winter
wasteland.
tundra.
okay?
There's trees, but
No.
like I'm thinking like northern states,
I would
maybe
probably
Canada.
eat you first.
Doubt that. Well, you have more meat on your bones, so
Okay, but like I would be smart about like my eating of you. Like
okay. Who all are we getting abandoned?
okay,
is it
so like
just us?
Like no, like yeah, it's just you and me. You know, just
You and I.
abandoned. Okay, that's
Grandma.
why I would eat you first. No, so like we would end up like landing in like the Appalachians somewhere,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And like the first few weeks, it'd be great. We'd be working together. Be like, wow, Richard,
Well,
dude,
I-
I can't believe that you helped me kill this bear, and like we got meat for forever, right? But like I would slowly I would find berries around the woods and be like, I'm gonna toss a couple of these berries in Richard's food and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, no, you can't poison me because then if you poison me, you can't eat me.
Okay, then I wouldn't poison you. I would be like, oh, hey, Richard, look over here. And be like, oh, dude, I accidentally stabbed you. I'm so sorry. Oh, I can't believe this would happen.
We
And,
have
like, you
two
would
very
start-
different views on how that would all turn out.
You would start
I
noticing.
would, you know what? You
No,
know what?
you would start noticing it because you would get to the shelter and you'd be like, that's weird. Why is there only one bed? And I'd be like, no. It's so that you're more comfortable. Go ahead and lay in that, dude. You're fine.
Oh, and it's just a trap?
Yeah, and like you would lay in the bed, and then you would be like getting ready to fall asleep. You'd be like, "Man, Juan's such a good guy." And then before you know it, like the bed would like close and be like, "Gah!" and you'd be like, "Oh."
I'm going to keep you well fed enough out in the woods so that I don't have to get eaten.
No,
Because I
but-
have a little bit,
But the thing is,
I
I
have a
would
pretty
feel,
good experience surviving in the woods.
but I would
so-
feel bad about it.
I don't doubt that, but
You know, like I wouldn't be like happily.
but
eating
you still think about it is
Like,
the
no,
is
like-
the issue.
like I'd be
like,
crying while I was eating you. Like at first, I'd take a
At
bite
first,
and be like, "Oh gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this." And
No,
then
you
like
taste
2
it.
minutes later, I'd be like, "It's
I
pretty good
might have-
steak."
Okay, well then you're gonna
I might
suffer
have
from
I might have seconds.
you're gonna suffer from insanity then, because I read a study that when you
Eat someone.
eat somebody, there's a certain chemical in your brain
Wait,
that's
hold on.
released.
Hold on. What study is this? Because I want to know where this came from.
This was back in college.
How
I can't-
often are people eating each other that they're
Dude,
scientists?
there's numerous accounts, reports of people eating each
I
other.
just love the idea of like two scientists being like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna pay you $1,000. You just gotta stay in this room for a week." You know what I mean?
Okay, now you need to eat him. Okay.
how do you think
I want
they,
to see. I want to see how your brain reacts when you eat someone.
how do you think they picked the patients for that? Like they sit down, they interview, and they were like,
Well,
"No,
go to
this-
teenagers
this
because they're
seems-
obviously fucking just all for none.
This seems like someone who would eat somebody else.
You know what? I got you.
No, but yeah, like I probably eat you first.
I,
I'd find a way. Cunning. That's what
see.
I am. I'm cunning.
you're pretty cunning, but we've
Yeah.
known each other a long
Yeah.
time.
I don't think you could tell if I was trying to eat you. Like I wouldn't show up to I wouldn't show up to the event like with a bib and like some forks. You know what I
Well,
mean?
of course.
I'd slightly I'd give off like the vibe. Every
Yeah,
once
but
in a while.
you know how paranoid I am. Though. That's the thing.
See, but that plays to my advantage of eating you. Because what I would do is I would be like I'd set up something outside of the tent or like the shelter.
Are you gonna do like a fall trap or something?
That's what I'm saying. I'd be
I can
like,
spot
I'd
this
be like,
from a mile
oh,
away."
dude, did you hear that twig break? And like you'd be like, I better go check that twig out because like in a horror movie situation, right? I feel like if we were being like hunted by like Jason Voorhees or something along the lines of that, you would be the guy who was like, I'm gonna go grab an axe from the woodshed. Because you would be like, I need an axe so that I feel comfortable. Whereas
Fair
like
enough.
I would be like, I'm gonna stay in this house, dude. Like clearly
The house isn't safe.
yeah, but it's safer than going out to the woodshed. I'm not saying that I wouldn't die. I'm saying that I would live longer than you in a situation like
I don't know.
I know. What do you mean I don't know?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you're
about
telling me that if we were in a situation where we were being hunted by like a Jason
that.
Voorhees
So, okay,
type character,
but now you're changing the scenario.
No.
Now you're changing the scenario
yes, I
because
am.
originally
I'm doing it
was-
for the concept of storytelling. We're trying to do a podcast here. That's
if
why
it's
I'm
one
trying
on
to-
one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
it's
kill
not
you.
one on one. Okay, what are you gonna do? The first day you're gonna kill me?
I'm gonna kill you before you kill me.
Famous
That's for
last
sure.
words. What are you gonna do? Kill me?
Yes.
No, see, so this is how I see it.
Okay,
happening.
so we're being hunted now.
yeah, now we're being hunted by like a Jason Voorhees type of character.
Okay, so immortal.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically,
Like he died, but he dies and comes back.
yeah,
So
you
he's
can
immortal.
finish him off enough that you can run away from him.
Right.
Which is why I find those movies so stupid because like they're like you ran away from Camp Crystal Lake and for some reason the main character who survived is like I think I should go back there and it's like why would you go back there?
See, I think that's a credit to both of us. 'Cause
Okay.
we wouldn't be that stupid.
That's what I'm saying though. Is like let's say we had
Like the first
we had
encounter.
a bloodthirsty serial killer type of character coming
Okay.
after us, right? And all he's looking for is one body, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's you and me.
That's interesting.
Okay. I'm just saying, me, dude, I'm laying in bed and I'm watching Netflix, and if what happens, happens. You know what I mean? I might be a little paranoid. I might be like, what was that? But you're going to be like, I know there's a shotgun in the shed. I'm going to walk out into the dark shed and see what happens.
Yeah, that's true. I will give you
Exactly.
that. I will give you that.
Exactly.
That is true.
And I'm just
'Cause
saying,
I-
I think
I'm
that's
proactive.
I think that's just a part of your personality. And it's not anything against you.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that I would clearly be the survivor because I'm lazy. And my laziness would work to my advantage. Because as we're being hunted by the serial killer, I would be like, you know what, though? There's a new episode of Ted Lasso that I haven't seen yet.
And you're
And if
watching
I
that, and I'm
die-
just pacing around the house.
Not even in the house. You're outside.
what the fuck is that?
Exactly. You're
is that?
outside. You're standing out like in the middle of the meadow with like a axe being like, oh, I dare this guy.
I
to
at
come
least
at me.
have something to my bag, like
I'm
a
just
wall
saying,
to my bag.
You don't think he's gonna want to come after you because you're out in the open, whereas like I'm laying in bed watching TV. He's gonna look at me. He's gonna be like, that guy's boring. He wants me to kill him. I don't even want to do that. Whereas you're out there like, come on, man, I'm standing right here. Come on? He's gonna be like, well, I mean, he's gonna give me a fight.
Fair point. I
Thank
will
you.
give you that. I will
agree.
give you that.
Look at that. Look at that, everybody. I would eat Richard before he eats
I'd
me.
kill you.
But no. You already said. You already
I said you were right on the personality thing.
No.
What I'm saying is,
Actually, well, Zordon just said I would lose, so that's fact. He controls the Power Rangers. I can't go against that.
look, dude, I'm just saying that in a situation like that, I feel like your pride would overtake you. Like you would be like, I'm gonna protect one, whereas my little cunning self would be sitting over in the corner, being like,
And
he's
that's-
protecting me.
And that's
I'm
why I
gonna
would.
find a way to bite.
That's why I would give you. That's why I would keep you well fed.
so that I wouldn't try and eat you.
Like I know traps. I can. We'll figure something out to keep Juan fed.
Could you imagine that? Like 2
And
weeks,
also-
2 weeks to being lost in the wilderness, and I'm like, I read this like really cool thing about spices and human meat, and you're like, something seems a little
Well,
off here.
actually, I read this study that says you're gonna go fucking insane if you eat me. So
Yeah, but it's insanity or being well fed.
I'm gonna keep you well fed, so that's not even an option.
Look-
Like you don't have to worry about
I'm
eating
just saying,
Richard,
okay?
Because Richard's your meal ticket, and you're gonna eat before I do. That's how I work.
You're gonna go Survivor season 1 on me, is what you're gonna do. Have you ever seen the first season of Survivor?
I've never watched one
Okay.
episode of Survivor.
So in the first season of Survivor, there's this guy who learns how to he's like the only one who can like fish, right?
Okay.
And he gets really good at fishing. So like they start voting people off the island, but they're like, dude, we can't vote this guy off. He knows how to fish. He's the only one getting us food, right? This is back in the days where Survivor was like actually Survivor.
Okay, I would teach you how to fish.
See, and that's your issue, is that now.
But you're gonna be well fed. You don't
Yeah,
have to
but-
worry about eating. meat.
But dude, I mean, maybe one wants a little red meat sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm looking at you.
So Juan is selfish as shit, is what we're saying.
No, yeah, you're on point. That's what you're saying. Yeah, that's pretty clear.
That's it.
No,
And podcast over.
no, but what I'm saying is that like in your mind, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep this guy well fed. Maybe that'll keep him from like trying to like take me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing in my head that at any moment you can snap and be like, this is it. I'm taking Juan out, right? In my head, I have traps laid throughout the entire thing because I'm gonna be like, hey Richard, I'm gonna go collect firewood,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of going to collect firewood, I'm digging a moat.
Okay.
And when you come
name how to build one trap.
Okay, I got you. Build a hole. I dig a hole.
Okay.
Right? Make a hole. I grab a bunch of leaves, a bunch of big old tree leaves, because I imagine more like on an island in this situation, or even if
Oh,
we're
see,
in,
I'm picturing
or-
pine needles.
Okay, pine needles.
Because look at where we're at.
A trap of pine needles.
That's the trees that we have around here. Is we have evergreens.
Yeah, but I'm just imagining a trap of pine
Yeah.
needles.
In what scenario are we going to the jungle?
See, but I don't know, man. We're going to Cancun or something. You know,
When do I have
boys
time to go to
trip
Cancun?
Boys trip to Cancun. You know what I mean? And the pilot's like, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking. Just want to let you know we're coming on a little bit of turbulence, and just we'll be back. Don't worry about it. And then we're sitting there and we're like, that was a little weird. It's
Yeah.
a little unsettling, right?
Right.
But we've only got like 40 minutes left on the flight. Cancun, we can literally see Cancun from where we're at. And then
It's
he's
right
like,
there.
ladies and gentlemen, just want to give you a heads up. We are going down. Hold on to your belongings and hold on to your loved ones and enjoy as we listen to the lovely sounds of Yamo Be There. And then like that's it. Right? And so the plane goes down.
Okay.
We end up like the plane goes into the ocean. But
Okay.
but I'm
This
like
is a different.
but you're like, dude, I found this emergency raft. Come on, Juan. And I'm like, okay, Richard.
So I saved your.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. From that moment, from the second that you and me are alone, I am plotting my way to eat you.
I saved
And that's
your
what puts
fucking
me,
life.
Yeah, but
And
that's what puts me above
God.
you in this situation.
where's the trust?
Is that I'm plotting it from the second you have the second the pilot was like, we're going down. I'm like,
Okay, I got to eat this.
I'm gonna look at you and be like, where's the best place to start? You know what I mean? Whereas like you're like fight or flight. Oh, man, I gotta save me. I gotta save one. Maybe even the other people on this plane. I'm not doing that.
You should have been Slytherin. I don't know how the fuck you got Hufflepuff.
It's there's a mix. But I'm just saying, we raft. We get there. Okay. And you, of course, you would be like, hey, Juan, I'm alpha.
Okay.
So you don't lie and
Okay.
don't pretend like you wouldn't be like, I'm in charge. I'm gonna
I would
make
take
sure.
lead, but I okay. I would conscientiously take lead.
Yeah.
But I would
And what-
always take your accounts into
But
order.
that's the thing is you would tell me, go gather wood.
I
And
would
that's your
add-
first
I
mistake.
would ask, hey Juan, you want to go grab some wood for some firewood for us?
And that's your first mistake. You left me alone. The second that you leave me alone.
So it's gonna be Juan. Hey, let's go do this. I'm keeping a fucking close ass eye on you.
No, but that's the thing. You're thinking to yourself, I got to build the shelter. Because in your mind is like, I got to get the shelter before this winter, like the storm hits or whatever.
Right,
You know what I
we
mean?
need fire. We need water.
Yeah.
We need shelter.
Whereas I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll grab the wood. Meanwhile, I'm coming up with recipes in my head and traps, small traps hidden throughout the island.
You're
I'm cunning.
cunning. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, you should have been Slytherin.
Look,
I don't
man.
know what the fuck that test said.
I'm a survivor. I don't know what you want from me. Okay.
I'm a survivor. I just don't expect my best friend to stab me in the back.
Oh, I wouldn't stab you in the back. No, I'd stab you in the front.
No, you would set a trap for me. Is what you just said.
Yeah, but like I mean, you'd be alive whenever I killed you. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna like, I'm not that bad. I'm not like a
True friend stab you in the front.
yeah.
You're right.
Like I would like
You're
let
right.
you know. I would be like, hey Richard, I just want to let you know I went and got firewood. I went and got all the material. I'm gonna eat you. I went and got
Hold on.
this.
What?
and
Hold on.
No, but that's
you
the thing.
can't just you can't just skip past like that. Like you said, just say what you just said.
No, and then I would say something like, "Oh, I didn't say I'm gonna eat you. I would say like I'm gonna beat you at this game of
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, tic tac toe that we're about to play." And like you would be so focused on like survival that you would be like, "Oh, he probably just meant tic tac toe." You know what I mean? And I would be like, "Yeah, I meant tic tac toe."
Right,
of
yeah,
course,
totally.
definitely. And then before you know it, much like the pigs on the splits, I would just be sitting there.
Yeah, you would do wonders in a Lord of the Flies
Well,
situation.
you know, it is what it is. It's.
I would just like be. I would just
Like,
hope and pray in my last moments that you just die shortly after because you just ate your last food source.
No. So that's the thing, though.
How
is
are you gonna preserve me?
I wouldn't preserve you.
So you're gonna
no,
eat the whole thing at once?
but I would preserve you because we're next to an ocean that has salt. And what I've learned is that all you have to do is put salt on meat, and that preserves meat for a long period of time. So I would like find a way to get the
Yes.
salt water. I would toss your body in there.
Because I already taught you how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You
So-
built the hole. You know,
Man,
and
I
not only
just,
that,
I just
at this point,
engineered my own demise.
Yeah.
Because I taught you shit
well, I mean,
and kept you alive.
I don't know what you want from me, dude. It's called, you're gonna be messed up is like after I eat you, I realized like 2 miles down the way it was like the Cancun resort we were supposed to go to.
Oh, are you here alone? Yep.
Yeah, no one else here.
I just,
I'm like
I'm the
literally-
lone survivor of the.
I'm wearing a bib that has your face on it and wiping my face. Oh no, yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, just I'm the lone survivor of the plane crash.
Like I said,
It's
I would
crazy.
feel really bad.
good.
I'd feel
I
terrible.
hope you would.
Well, not terrible. I'd feel like upset.
Like,
know?
man, that kind of sucks.
But once you get about 2 or 3 margaritas in me,
Richard, who?
I'm just kidding, man. I wouldn't eat you. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna eat you, dude. Doesn't even make sense.
I'm not getting on a
I
plane
was
with
gonna
you
say, first
ever.
off, why would we go on a plane together? Why would
No,
we
we've been in dire situations already. So
have we?
yeah,
What's a dire situation for you?
being out in the middle of the woods with a flat tire.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Almost hitting a deer and spinning around.
You know what we should talk about is the most dire situation we've ever been in.
Oh man, we haven't talked about that in a little bit. Okay,
Okay. You want to tell the story? You want me to tell the story?
you go ahead and start it, and I'll fill in details.
Okay, so we were hanging out at his house, and we were just kind of
We were just like,
we were supposed to go like hang out with my brothers or something.
yeah, and go
along
play
those lines.
video games or something.
And he had a neighbor at the time. We won't name names, but he
Right,
had a
right.
neighbor at the time who invited us over, and he was like, "Hey, you guys are a couple of 20-year-olds. You want to come over and take a shot?"
You want a shot?
We had hung out with this guy a few times before this.
Yeah, not weird, like nothing.
I mean,
crazy.
He was weird, but he wasn't like nothing like unhinged. It was
Right.
just like he was a strange dude.
He's like, here, let me show you my garden.
And then, yeah, right. Yeah, nothing weird. Just showing 2 20-year-olds his garden and explaining
Feeding
to us
them alcohol.
Yeah, just standard
Normal.
stuff. So we're hanging out at this guy's house. He invites us, to go over to his house, take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We had done this a couple of times before. Nothing was out of control. We get there, and he's like, "Hey, you guys, let's start drinking." He pours a couple shots. We take like 2 or 3, something along that. Oh, what do you got? Richard's
that?
putting his finger up.
I want to point out the fact the shots were his homemade vodka
Yeah.
that was like 108 proof lemon vodka. And yeah, 108 proof. And yeah, we had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You don't feel it at first. You don't feel it because he chilled it. So you don't feel shit.
So-
oh, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, a couple dumb 20-year-olds hanging out at 30-something-year-old guy's house, and he's feeding us alcohol and liquor. And of course, like as people who can't go out and purchase our own alcohol and liquor, we're like, oh, yeah, this is great, fantastic.
We did not break the law at
Definitely,
any point during
we
that.
were 21 the
We were
entire
21.
time, and it wasn't actually vodka; it was apple juice. He gave us shots of apple juice, and we were like, "Wow, this is really good apple juice, man. That's good." And he was like, "Yeah, it's homemade. Got it out of
Homemade.
my garden." So we're hanging out, drinking with this dude, and then he kind of starts getting a little weird, but
It's like a slow turn.
starts building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like gradual.
It's not like
Gradual.
at 1 second he was like, "I'm gonna slice you up." No, it was just kind of like,
You
kind
know
of
there's
like,
cameras pointing out the front.
and
I
there's-
can see up and down the street.
yeah, I know everything that you guys do. I'm aware of everything that's going on here.
I always have the block of the engine blocking my head when I sleep on the couch.
Yep. Just in case.
Just in case somebody tries to shoot me.
shoot. That's what he said. And so, couple of 20-year-olds who just want some apple juice. We just bypassed that.
Yeah,
Don't even
okay.
think anything about it.
He gave us shirts. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
he- of
gave
course.
us fucking
Yeah.
t-shirts.
We hang out, doing our thing, having our usual like get together. And then he's like, "Hey, just got back from Colorado. Got this stuff I want you guys to try." We won't say what kind of stuff it was because this was before the stuff was allowed.
Whatever.
And so we try the stuff, and then he starts going a little off the rails, jumping a little bit. And
Like he took anatomy.
yeah.
I think that was like kind of the start of it. Was
He walks up to Richard. He has him like backed, not like up against the corner, but he's like on a, he's like on a
island.
island,
Like-
like
like
a
a-
kitchen island. Points his head up at his hand. He's like, all you'd have to do is like slice you right here, and right here.
And you're like cross section.
Yeah. And no one would even know. And like in my head, like all I'm hearing in my head is like, and like muffled in the background is like, I'm gonna slice you from your head to your stomach. And, and I'm just like, and then finally, like, I'm like, what did he say? Did he say something?
And I'm fucking looking at you like,
I'm like, he must have said something really interesting. Richard's looking at me a little weird.
dude, we got.
And then I,
Hey, didn't we? I think we said we were gonna go play video games
Yeah.
with your brother, right?
and then he goes, wait, before you go, I have to show you something. He leaves the room.
Okay.
There's like I think this is the first time we ever like telekinetically communicated with each other because we looked at each other and it kind of was like I gotta probably get out of here.
Time to go.
And we booked it out of this house. Ran straight out of this house. Straight back to Richard's house. Locked ourselves inside.
We said we were gonna go somewhere and didn't
that-
end up going anywhere.
Which probably would have been a safer alternative.
Really?
Other than just being like, oh, hey,
Like
the
peeking out the windows.
thinking we're being like non-discreet about it when it's really just us like staring out the window going, no.
Where is he? I know he's somewhere.
At this point I had never I don't think like either of us had ever like really been to like a point of like really worried about like the other
Yeah.
person. But I could tell something was up because Richard walks into the living room and he's like, he starts like yelling. And I'm like, hey man, calm down, man. What are you doing, man? What are you freaking out, bro? Come on, chill out. And he's like,
I didn't.
he lays down. He puts his hand over his head. He starts like,
I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen.
he's like hyperventilating.
I'm gonna have to fucking fight my neighbor right now.
And so I start freaking out because he's hyperventilating. And I'm like, oh no, something's not right here. And I'm also in a similar situation as him. It's just that I didn't have a guy in my face going, all I'd have to do is cut you here, here, and here.
Oh, and then I got home and I missed like 2 or 3 calls from my dad, and I was like, "What the fuck? Somebody's dead. What's going on here?
The world's wrong right
I
now.
can't drive. There's no way I can drive right now. The world's going to shit."
And so I'm sitting there staring at him. And then before I know it, it goes from heavy breathing to, and I'm like, oh, he's out. And so I'm like, I I should probably sleep too. And so I fall asleep. We wake up and, I mean, everything's fine. Clearly, we're still here. We're still talking into microphones, but
Supposedly.
yeah, you never know. We're probably just in this dude's like we're in his garden.
Just recording a podcast.
We're two trees recording a podcast in his garden. No, but like it was one of the freakiest situations because all I could think of was like, I don't think we're gonna get out of here. Like for a split second there, I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, we're done. And then you know what the stupidest decision was?
What's that?
I went back because he said, "Hey, do you want a shot?" And I wanted a shot.
Yeah,
so-
but he didn't have both of us, so the kill wasn't there anymore.
yeah, it wasn't as interesting. Now it's only one.
Who cares about
what's
that?
fun about that?
Anyways, thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. We appreciate you guys checking us out. If you came back for another one. And Richard, is there anything you'd like to say to the people before we head out of here?
Oh, nope. Just come back next week.
Yeah, well, here we are. We're going to be here forever.
Ever and ever.
Forever
and ever and ever.
Before you know it, one of us is going to eat each other live on the podcast.
Tune in.